Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Ken Himmler again. And today I have a great guest. His name is Ben, and he runs a very unique travel concierge company. And today we're just going to talk casually with him about what that is about and how it can benefit you as one of our clients of our firm. And just to give a preface, that some of the things that Ben does is for a select group of our clients. And if you're in a platinum plan, which is the service level offering of 3, this is made available to you. Unfortunately, it's not made available to anybody under level 1 or level 2. But with no further ado, we're going to get started. And Ben, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for having me.
So Ben, today's just casual. We're just, today's unscripted. We're just going to bat some things around just to help some of our clients understand what you bring to the table. And as a new, I would say, internal partner of One Wealth Map, how these benefits that you're going to bring to our clients can help them. And just so everybody understands, just to give it as a top down. So Ben owns a very unique travel concierge company that he's going to explain. And the way it works is we pay Ben's company to have them on retainer for our clients under level 3. And so with that in mind, Ben, I'll turn it over to you. Maybe you can give everybody just a real quick introduction and just tell us, how did you get started in something so unique?
Yeah, absolutely, Ken. So, coming from France, France has a lot of origins around hospitality and, Michelin star dining and also good produces. And that's where I came from. Actually, full transparency, I grew up in a farm. So from a very young age, I was into, homemade cooking and eating the best produce that you can have. And naturally, I ended up going to a culinary school. And I started my career as a private chef, as a chef, and then eventually into private chef. And fast forward, I ended up being around the world in places such as New York City, London, Shanghai, Paris, Sao Paulo, Dubai. And also I ended up working on those mega yachts. So with all those experiences, I ended up being and I'm still well-traveled, and I know what it takes to coordinate between the yacht captain, between the private jet pilots, between the drivers, between the house manager. And all this led me to open my own concierge firm, because I thought that I had everything that it took to provide concierge services and travel management for family offices clients. So here we are. This is where I started 6 years ago, Maison Benjamin now. And we find a niche, which is, family offices and wealth management firms. And since then, we've been provided our services to firms like yours, and we help your clients to access to events, to access to the beautiful travel destinations, to travel planning, to access to art fairs or any vendor suppliers that are otherwise not accessible to. And then we act as an advisory bridge between your firm and your clients, so that you guys keep the focus on the wealth management, the portfolio, the planning, the estate planning and taxes. And we are here to help providing the fund to your clients. So that's what Maison Benjamin is all about, to become an extension of your team, to help and focusing on non-financial services.
And honestly, I didn't realize that was your background, because we've been talking mainly just about how you can help our clients. Mm-hmm. And, I'm going to delve into something a little bit different, because for years I've been talking to wealthy clients, and sometimes clients of ours get sudden wealth, meaning it's almost like lottery winning, but it's not lottery.
Overnight.
But it's something like a SpaceX, or something like it's coming up Anthropic, or like an exit strategy from a business. And here's what I found is typically our challenge is we'll go into a client, we'll say, hey, we just saved you $100,000, $200,000 of taxes. What do you want to do with it? Why don't you travel? Why don't you buy a new home? And what I've learned is that it's a hard hump to get a lot of people over to say, hey, I'm going to spend $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 on a trip. But I think it's Warren Buffett that said it the best. If you have enough money, you can solve any problem. And what I love about what you guys are doing is it actually solves a problem for what I'm trying to help clients with, or what our whole team is trying to help clients with, which is live a better life. And a lot of times I know what it's like. I have enough money to travel the way I want, but old habits still come into play. I'm going to truck my own luggage. And then I'm going to try to get my own Airbnb, or I'm going to try to get my own, whatever it is, Lyft, or whatever the kind of, service is. To me, I don't even want to go on vacations anymore because it seems like it's so much work doing all those things, coordinating things. And then, what happens is the airline cancels a flight. I don't know about it until I get there. And then the Airbnb wasn't what I anticipated. Now I'm paying for that one because I can't get a refund, and I'm getting another one. And sometimes vacation is more work than just staying in a staycation. So maybe you can explain like all of those friction points that I don't like. And quite honestly, I've tried travel agents, and I'm more like a piece of inventory to them. It's just turnover, just schedule this, and they don't really care. Then they're out of the picture. They don't have the experience. Then I've tried to do other things, like I've had Amex, I've had a Black Card travel services. And to me, that's just a glorified travel agent. They don't know anything about me. They don't really give me all the context. So maybe you could fill everybody in on what sets you guys aside from those kind of services. And if you're doing this for me, how do you eliminate all those friction points or things that just make me want to travel?
So it's a very good question, Ken, and I appreciate you bringing the lights on other travel agencies or even the Mexican Concierge services too. Because actually what we do is, first of all, here at Maison Benjamin, we understand the family office ecosystem or even the wealth management. And we understand that your clients have worked very hard to acquire their wealth. And we respect that. So that's one thing. Also, when you guys are focusing on as I said earlier, managing the portfolios or looking at the best investments over the next semester, us as an extension of your office, we work planning, because we have that's our full-time job. I'm sorry. So we have plenty of time to plan, execute, and also leverage the relationships, the networks that we have with hotels, airlines, tour operators. So when it comes to planning all together, it becomes easy for us because that's what we do, every day. Now, where you compare us to another travel agency, as I said, is that we work on daily basis with family offices. So we exactly know the expectations. We know that everything has to be streamlined. We try to avoid fragmented communications. We make sure that our vendors, they sign NDAs in some instances. We, as I said, we provide a full governance around the services that we provide. And also, if you're going to go and ask for tickets, let's say a US Open tennis ticket Mexican Concierge, they're going to come back to you with the tickets. Say, here's your tickets, have fun. Whereas we're going to, since we have relationships in place, we're going to offer you the comprehensive travel to, let's say, US Open is in New York. We're going to make sure that you have a flight book, a hotel, dining reservations for after the games. If you're traveling with your family that are not attending the games, we're going to make sure that there is activity for the kids. We're going to provide them access to the museum, to a kids-friendly ice cream museum, so anything like that. So there is a whole dynamic between the services that we provide, and that's where we differentiate ourselves compared to other concierge firms, is that since you retain us, we are truly at your service. And also, we know the profile of your clients, so that when they call us, first of all, compared to Amex, when they call us, we know who is calling. So we know their background. We know where they've been before. We know their profile. We're not going to go through a 5-step security process where they ask you about, the year of birth, your PIN code, the name of your daughter, things like that. So we go straight to the point, and then we removed all the frictions. And that's why working with us, we differentiate ourselves from, the competition.
I absolutely love that because I just read this book, and it's called Who Not How. It's by Dan Sullivan.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like it because it really focuses in on, people want to know how to do it. And sometimes Dan Martell says this the best, right? As you get wealthier, and the wealthy people do one thing differently, which is they don't try to spend time to save money. They'd rather spend money to save time.
Correct.
And one of the things I've recognized in my travel endeavors, because I love to travel, I've been all over the world, is that the hassle at my age And now when I was younger and I didn't have as much money, I would have to try to find all the best deals on my own. But now it's more about, I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. I don't want to deal with airlines. I don't want to deal with hotels. Here's a great example. We just went to San Diego, and everything that we read online, everything that the reviews were saying in this high rise downtown San Diego were fantastic. We get there and the room size we couldn't even move in there. And then by the time you got out on the street, there were so many homeless people outside the front door, we were afraid to go out. Now, see, I had somebody like you would have been able to tell me, hey, that's not a good place to stay. And you would have been able to find something, because we spent a lot of money on that trip. And we literally left halfway through it and came home because it was so uncomfortable. So for me, that's not really a vacation. That was just a waste of my time.
Of course.
So can you help me understand, like, let's say I tell you my profile. What are some of the questions that you would ask me to be my who instead of me being the how?
Yeah, so obviously we will know a little bit more about your profile, your expectations, but also your past experience or past trips. And based on that, and those things, it obviously doesn't come overnight. It's, with the time we get to know more about our clients. But let's say that you want to go back to San Diego, and then obviously you can avoid that place that you went, but we will leverage our relationships within the travel industry. To give you an idea, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to head to Morocco to attend a travel show, which is only for the travel industry, only for the travel industry. And that's just an example. But from there, I'm probably going to come back with probably 20, 50 lists of new contacts that I will have made from different hotels, retreats, tour operators from around the world. And based on that, I will, if one of them happen to be in San Diego, I will contact him and say, look, Ken is coming to San Diego next month, and this is his profile. What do you suggest? And then that's how we will leverage those contacts.
That I tell you what, I'm excited about having you guys on board, and not only for enhancing our clients' lives, because again, that's one of the biggest things I try to push them to do is, if we can make them wealthier, save taxes, it doesn't really cost them anything at all to use something like your service and have top tier platinum service. And just as you guys are all, my clients are listening to this, just so you understand, you're not paying for Ben's services. We're paying that company directly as a retainer. So you get the benefit of his company as just being a part of our firm. Now you'll pay for your own travel as you decide how to travel, whether it's first class or riverboat cruise or whatever it is. But the who versus how thing to me is really, really exciting, because I've done this so many different times, and each time I fail in some aspect of my travel, and then it just accumulates into a feeling of frustration that, do I even want to travel anymore? So now with Ben on board, I'm kind of excited about this because I don't have to do all that work anymore.
Yeah, and also, sorry, if I might say, and sorry to interrupt, during the trip as well, we don't wait for you guys to return, your clients to return home. If there is issues during the trip, we are here on support, meaning that we probably have the hotel manager on speed dial, and we can assess those issues when there is. And, there is more than you think. There is not everything always because everything goes pink, but we can address those issues, so we are able to fix it before, the end of the trip. So that's a plus in working with us as well.
See, I love that, because we had a problem in San Diego and we tried to call the management, and they're like, well, you'd have to go through the service first. And then we waited for an hour for them to give us a call back. And then they said, oh, we're sorry, we're closed till the morning, because I'm just one person renting one place versus you have the relationships. I think you have a lot more leverage and a lot more power. They're going to answer to you versus me as just a 2-week rental.
Correct.
So I love that you guys have that kind of leverage, because those are some of the things that we've run into in the past. Let me ask you another question, because I thought it was very interesting that you have offices pretty much all over the world, Latin America, Asia, Europe. And let's say that I'm on a trip and something doesn't go right, and I'm in Europe. Obviously, things do go awry in any kind of travel, which then makes the travel unfavorable. How does that work? If I'm in Europe and something goes wrong, how do you guys help me there?
Well, our team member, which is based in Europe, will be your point of contact. So already you have somebody in the same time zone as you are. That's one thing. You don't have to wait the day after that the US wake up to kind of get in touch with somebody. Plus, as a concierge, we have a little black book of contacts and that's what concierge are here for, right? To leverage relationships and use their contacts around the world. So there is always going to be a way for us to find somebody who's going to come and help you. Plus, if it's a medical issue, if it's whatever the issue might be, we always have somebody in each field that can help us. Sometimes, to be honest, it has a price, has a cost, but at least if I come back to the medical issues, somebody will be here to guide you through, regardless the country that you're in.
So I love that idea because, I've wanted to go to Europe, but the last time I went to Europe, a lot of things didn't go right and flights got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
We got to a certain room and they said, "Oh, well, sorry, we overbooked the other room. And so now you have to go find another hotel." Just
Wow.
stuff like, I just want to fly home.
Yeah,
so
of course.
these are things that you can help through because I'm sure you have a lot more leverage than just little old me.
Well, first of all, if we track your flights, so if you're in the middle of the Ocean Atlantic at 3:00 in the morning, we're going to make sure that if your connection flight got canceled, we're going to reroute you to a different flight. So that's one thing, right? And if you have a problem with the hotel, same, leveraging our relationship in the travel industry, we will find an alternative plans, and all this in a matter of minutes. So that's something that, again, that's what we're here for. That's what you retain us for, and to make sure that your clients will have no problems. I mean, there is always problem, right? Such as weather related that we cannot control, but we have more chances to fix the issue than going through a third party concierge or travel service company. Again, that's it's one thing to plan, to organize, but it's another thing to be on support 24/7 like we do, thanks to our team spread out around the world. And there is always going to be somebody on support for your clients.
I love that. And because, it's interesting. I've tried Amex's travel and then I tried Marriott's Black Card travel, and issues have happened and we've called them and their typical response is, "That's outside the context of what we can help you with. We can help you schedule, but if you have to reroute, you have to do that on your own."
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I could have just done it all on my own.
Yeah,
right?
and that's the problem. Those companies, they're too big, right? So where with Maison Benjamin, we have a boutique approach, meaning that we treat you like if you were staying in the Paris Palace Hotel, right? Meaning that you're gonna in the AI world, you're still gonna be talking to a human, right? And we will be able to address the issues, as I said, within minutes usually.
Are there things like, and I'm asking this because I just don't know. So let's say I go to Europe, and are there things like I just get you a copy of my passport, a copy of driver's licenses, or, how would you help me? Let's say I didn't want a limo when I get somewhere, but I like to drive and explore. Can you help me, outline what that tour might look like, where I can rent cars, and can you use my passport and driver's license to get me into hotels without me having to do all that work?
Yes, definitely. And we'll get you a car right at the airport. So meaning that you don't have to go and be online with Avis or Budget. We will have a car service that will deliver the car to you, handle you the keys, and all the driving license, insurance will be already preset, meaning that you just have to get the keys and get going. Again, this is one of the perks to work with us because we have those relationships. This with our clients who fly private, we do oftentimes those kind of services where the car that they rented arrives plane side. So as soon as they step out of their plane, they go in the car, they put the suitcase in the trunk and off they go. And then they don't have to worry about anything. Same on the way back, on the return. They just leave the keys, the car plane side, they go in the aircraft and they take off, and then our agency take care of the cars afterwards.
That's fantastic. So let me ask you a question. So sometimes when I've looked at flights, it's interesting. So let's say I fly from Salt Lake to Tampa, and I've looked up, whatever the business rate is. And let's say the business rate is $1,200. First class is $3,000. And then I've looked at things like fractional jets, and they'll charge me $5,000, $2,000 more, but then I'm not sitting in an airport for 2 hours before, sitting in an airport 2 hours after, trying to grab my luggage, go through TSA lines, all the craziness. Is there a way when I say, hey, look, I'm open to either private, fractional, or first class, can you guys compare that for me so I can determine the length of the flight, the determination of the airports? Like I Atlanta airport is like 4 hours to get out of there. It's ridiculous. And then you got to travel 5 miles from one side to the other. So when I look at my time and the value of my time, sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to do that. But I never invested the time to compare each time, flying commercial versus fractional versus private.
Yeah, so our only issue with that is that most of our requests are somehow always last minute. So depending on how urgent is your travel, because most of the time we get same day requests. So we wouldn't have time to, differentiate which options is better, because also for fractional jets, like if you look at a corridor such as, let's say, New York to South Florida, then it shouldn't be a problem. Now, if you're talking about Salt Lake City to Orlando, it's a little bit, more tricky, right? Obviously, when it comes to private aviation, it's always going to be higher than commercial flight. But like you said, you're going to probably shave off, 4 or 5 hours depending on where you're flying, So at the end of the day, it's up to your clients to tell us what they're really looking for, what is the objective of their trips, and how much they want to spend. Based on that, we can align the options, and then they can pick and choose from it. But again, this depends on really on the route, the time of the day. There's many factors that take in considerations. But there is always ways to make it happen.
Well, I love that. I just don't want to deal with it anymore, because the time to do that work and the cost comparison versus the value comparison just feels like I shouldn't be spending my time there. I should have a who, not a how. So I love that. Let me jump to another subject here real quick, because I got that email that you sent me last week about that private winery tour in Yellowstone. And that, honestly, that's something I would have definitely jumped onto. It was just, for me, it was too short notice. I had my calendar booked already, but that was exciting. That is something like, out of a Disney movie for me, be able to do all those things. So can you maybe expand on, it's not just flights, it's not just hotels. Can you talk about these different unique events, private events, sporting events, concerts, things like you guys can connect our clients to, again, with the intent that we help them live a better life with what we do with them financially?
Correct. And this, what you just described it, we call it experiences, right? So, and this is actually a good example for the younger generation, right? The next gen, more and more from what we've seen, the trends is that they're looking to invest into themselves, meaning that they are looking for intangible experiences, right? Investment for themselves. So that private events that will occur in September in Jackson Hole is via a high fine wine partner, right? Because we have clients that are into wine, and we're not talking about wine that you can find in a regular supermarket. We're talking about wine that only them actually have access to the inventory. We're talking about estate in Bordeaux, Burgundy, some in Napa Valley or Erie. Anyway, and this partner, time to time, they call it chapters, and they put experiences for their members, because it's members only, but via our relationship with them, we are able to also invite some of our clients. And in that case, it will happen in Jackson Hole, and we are going to bring on Chateau Angelus, which is one of the best red wine from Bordeaux. We are bringing Champagne Birka Salmon, and when I say we're bringing the winemaker. So it's not a middleman, right? It's somebody directly from the property, and they can explain in person. They're gonna try the wine with the convives at the table. And all this in the beautiful 5-star hotel with meaningful activities that will be made, in between meals, so that they get a full immersive experience of the Wyoming. And, when the clients leave the events, yes, they won't come home with something tangible at home, but they will have everything in their memories, because that intangible experience was like, wow. And then that's what we're trying to show to our clients, that yes, there is travel, but there is also, you can travel for those kind of experiences. And once again, at Maison Benjamin, that's what we're here for. We put it together. So we provide a comprehensive package where we provide the travel arrangements, the travel booking, the experiences, and also access to, other members that like that kind of topics, or, wines, and, being in outdoors and sharing memories, and, and your clients might come back with some networking contacts, so it's a win-win for everyone.
No, I love that. It's interesting because we are just about to launch a new campaign called the Living Inheritance Strategy. And the premise of this is, now that I've been doing this 42 years, what I'm seeing, and now that my kids are mid 30s going into their 40s, what I'm learning is that because you brought up the new generation. Yes, I would agree. The new generation is more about not just showing up to work 12 hours a day. They want experiences.
Right.
But here's what I've also learned. This new generation is so poorly prepared for wealth management. And a lot of our clients that are worth decamillions, they're not preparing their kids. So this Living Inheritance Strategy campaign is about bringing families together and then teaching the kids how to inherit and prepare for this sudden wealth event. So my thought was, this is a great partnership with you because, back when I got started in the 80s and we managed some family foundations, we would fly all over the world. We would do these giant family events, and the firm I worked for would coordinate everything in-house, but it was nowhere near the quality that you're providing, because sometimes we'd get to these events and there's no cars, the rooms were bad, et cetera. So we used to do these events, and I want to start that again to start preparing this next generation to inherit the wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So can you explain, if we wanted to do, say, a family event and we wanted to work it around, say, some great tours, some great experiences, but we wanted to maybe have a conference room where we can bring 5, 10, 20 of the family members together to start talking about what transitional wealth looks like. Can you tell me, how would that work? Can you help us with something like that?
Definitely. And I think nowadays we call it a family retreat, right? Meaning that we will go, it doesn't have to be an hotel. It doesn't have to be a generic ballroom from, let's say a Marriott hotel near airport. No, I think we will want to suggest you perhaps a villa in Costa Rica or a villa in Tuscany, where, the family bond together, right, to that kind of transitional wealth and have their time together. But at the same time, we will bring in the entertainment. Maybe we do a wine dinner that night. Maybe we do a pizza making classes. So the grandparents, the kids get together and, get flowers everywhere. They make the pizza, they're happy. And that's what will bond them together. And that's how we envision the future, especially when there is a multi-generational family, where they can all bond together by sharing those kind of intangible experience. Again, they're going to come home empty-handed because they didn't go and buy the luxury watches or yacht or anything like that, but they will come back with the experience and the better relationships with their family members.
I love that. I think this is going to be a fantastic partnership. I'm really looking forward to endeavoring on that in this. So maybe to wrap things up, what would you say? Well, first, let me inject something, because I just thought of something. I know that a lot of people that are listening to this, and we have some clients that are worth 30, 40, 50 million plus. And when we talk about this stuff, and I've talked to them about it before, and they say, oh, that's for the billionaires. And I was like, listen, you live once. If we can help you save the tax and we can improve the financial, whatever it is, it doesn't cost you anything, because you can make this into an experience. So I want to make sure everybody takes that in, it soaks in, that this is not just for billionaires. A lot of what he's talking about here, Ben's talking about, is financially engineered into your total wealth plan. But to cap it off, what could you help our clients understand on what would be the steps in order to start engaging with you so that you can learn what their profile is?
Well, we start off with the, general intake form, right? So we know at least their age, or at least have a range of age, meaning that we want to know if your client is 25 or is, 64, right? That helps, right? We want to know their kids. If they have kids, their age, if they've been, what they like, what they don't like. And based on that, usually we, getting on the phone call before we start planning a trip is always very helpful because there's so much you can tell on the phone. But, when you have a sense of who you're talking to, you understand better, you can also that help us to anticipate their needs, right? And based on that, after that, we are here to educate them about potential new destinations or new hotels that are coming up, because most of your clients, again, and I come back to what I was saying earlier, where they worked out to acquire their wealth and they're also probably already well traveled. But us, as a professional from the travel industry, we're always aware of the new hotels that's going to be built in Italy next month, or the new experience in Antarctica. So we're always here to bring perhaps some ideas that they didn't think that they wanted, right? So we're always here to educate and suggest new happenings. And to give you an idea, right now, it's not even at the end of August. We're looking already at the calendar of 2027. And I can tell you that there is few experiences, few events that your clients might be already interested. I'm talking about if the Expo 2027 in Serbia, that's going to happen in May. There's going to be the America's Cup in Naples, Italy in July. There's going to be another full solar eclipse in Spain. So we can organize the whole experience about the solar eclipse. There's going to be the Ryder Cup in Ireland. And obviously, there's always going to be the Monaco Formula One. There's always going to be the Art Basel in Miami. So again, we're here to promote, to provide your clients with a full spectrum of the travel, but also getting access to those events. So I think it's a win-win for everyone, that partnership that we have, and everyone would get benefit of it.
I love that. I think one of the things I probably didn't fully explore, and I said I was almost done, but I'm not, is just local events, because, I'm back and forth between Sarasota, Florida and Park City. And what I find is I get to, say, Park City for the summer, and all of a sudden I get these feeds and they'll say something like, something in, let's say, Deer Valley is happening, and it's like a day before, and I always miss out on these things. So I like the idea that you guys will understand who our clients are, what they like, and then give them advance notice of, hey, these are things coming up that you can participate in. And then you guys take care of all the background. I love that.
Yeah,
because I always miss these experiences.
Correct. And that's what we're here for. We always send reminders about now it's a good time to book in 6 months, because now your clients are focused on ending Q4 on a high note. So they're probably thinking about investments and preparing the tax season for 2027, but they forget that now is a good time to book their trip to the Davos Economic Forum, which happened right after New Year, right? Because a lot of clients, they will wake up in December and say, oh, I need to go to Davos, but it's in 3 weeks. How do I do? It's already sold out. I'm sorry. Those things are now the good time to plan a trip to Davos Economic Forum is right now. If you want to plan a trip to Art Basel in Miami the first week of December, it's now. Booking your Thanksgiving retreat with your family is now. Thinking about your grandson graduation next year in May is now. So again, that's what we're here for. We're here to help your clients, to remind them about those kind of bookings because they're busy on the other side, which I understand. But again, that's what we're here for, to help you.
Ben, I love that because, we have a mission to improve our clients' lives, whether that's through tax reduction, improved wealth, but also how to enjoy it and having the experiences.
Correct.
And I really think the addition of our partnership together is really going to enhance our mission with our clients. So thanks for joining us today. And thanks for such a great explanation. I'm really excited to have you on as a partner.
Thank you, Ken, for having me. It's been a pleasure. And I look forward to our relationships and then get to know your clients as well. And hopefully we can travel with them along.
All right. And listen, if you're listening to this because it was sent out from our firm, please get in contact with your financial planning team. Let them know that you're interested in creating a profile with Ben and a connection with Ben through our firm. Again, if you do it through our firm, we're already retaining them, so it doesn't cost you anything out of pocket. And then what we can do is make sure that we are in and helping you figure out the best financial way, whether it's tax deductible or where it comes from. And this way you can start living your best life and having better experiences. So thanks for joining us today. And Ben, thank you again.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you.